Today we're going to talk about you as a race driver delivering on demand, because at the end of the day, that's what you're there to do. The reason this is today's topic is because I had a question from, I'll call you Savaf, because it's the end of your name. He asked this: during practice and qualifying, I'm slower than I am in race laps because I'm more aggressive when I'm in a race. How do I become more aggressive when there's no other drivers on track? This is a fantastic question, because I think every single driver watching this or listening to this can empathize with what you're going through, because they too have had a time when they've under-delivered, underdrove, made mistakes, got panicked in qualifying, or, any time when it's mattered. Delivering on demand is an essential ingredient, attribute, skill, quality that you need as a driver if you want to go pro, or if you want to remain pro. Now just think about it. A manufacturer employs a driver and plugs them into the car because they think that driver is dependable and can get the maximum out of the car and can really just showcase their brand, right? Now, if your performance is up and down, sometimes you're good in qualifying, sometimes you're not aggressive enough, you have got no chance. You'll be removed. It's exactly the same reason why a manufacturer will choose a particular engine, or tune the engine, will choose a certain chassis, tires if they've got that luxury, and they'll put it on the car. An engineer as well, they'll put them working on the car because they need the maximum. Everything must work to 100% consistently. They know that people make mistakes, drivers make mistakes, but they want you to be dependable. So this is something that I want everybody to take seriously. Your job as a driver is to deliver, to get the most out of the car, to energize the team as well on the team building side, to actually be there as the leader, but to get in that car and deliver. Okay, that's the obvious bit out the way now. Now, for more practical advice, for you to get the most out of yourself, and on this occasion, it's to be more aggressive, assertive, and take control of the car when it's timed sessions. And there's nobody there pushing you, it's just you on track. And everybody can sort of adjust what I'm saying to their particular thing, right? So first off, what I'd do, if I was with you, I'd say, right, we need to know the difference on the mindset side and also the driving side when you're in a race compared to when you're in qualifying. And that can be done very easy. First of all, ask yourself, what am I thinking about? Where is my focus going when I'm in the kart in qualifying? And you write it down. And then you think about the races. Where's it going then? What am I thinking then? What am I feeling? Where are my thoughts taking me? And you can kind of paint two different people there. You got two different pictures, very different people. So that's just good to understand to start with. And then the next bit is the actual driving. You get the data from the typical practice or qualifying when you know you haven't quite executed, whether you've overdrove or you've underdrove. Take it, a good example of when it happened. And then look at a race when you absolutely dominated. You drove how you wanted to drive, same track, obviously, same event, and overlay them. And then you start to look at the driving, the traits. What are your things that you do when you're aggressive that you don't do when you're underdriving? Anyone who's overdriving, do the same. You can pretty much work this out. And then you look, you say, right, I can see that I'm braking later. I'm keeping the brake on all the way to the apex. I'm pretty punchy on the throttle. I'm more direct with the steering, and that's enough, right? If you just take them three things, so you can kind of see the different driving styles from when you're comfortable and you're in the zone and when you're not. And you've really got to understand what they are. You write them out as well. And you can put them on the left or the right side of the page. And now you've got the driving and the mental. You know everything that's there. So then you say, okay, if I'm braking deeper, how can I make this easy for this Mr. Under or Mrs. Underdriver in qualifying to drive that way? First off, mindset. I need to start thinking the way I do when I'm in races, when I'm carefree, when I'm looking forward ahead, further, more. Maybe that's just it. I'm looking further ahead and I'm kind of not really thinking of that time. I'm just going. Perfect. Have that mindset. Listen to some music that makes you a bit looser and you're just thinking about the next corner all the time when you're in the kart, okay? You're out there, you're visualizing before you go out, should I say, and you're thinking about, right, I'm going to brake deep into the hairpin. I'm going to do this at the high-speed corner. So you're kind of preloaded with the guy or the gal who's in the race and you're putting them there right then before they go out. Then as soon as you go out, if you want to be aggressive, start to warm the tires up aggressively. So you pretty much come to start the push lap and you're out of breath, because you've worked it that much. Now, you know that every emotion is kind of created nearly 50% by what you do with the body, how you hold it, your muscle tension, and 50% on what you're focusing on. Now, if you're focusing on these late braking points, you're really thinking about getting that throttle on and looking ahead in the corner, and also your body has just had a workout when you're warming the tires up, you are there, you are more aggressive. Then you stick to them brake points. You get the feeling of when the kart is really on the limit, and that's what you're chasing. You want that kart on the limit. So this is where you have to differentiate yourself as well with what the kart and the track requires of you and your feelings. So the problem is a lot of drivers, they go out there and they go to their limit, how they feel on that particular day. Their expectations are all in there. They're thinking about, pops, dad watching, mom, dad watching at the side of the track, what they're thinking. And it's kind of like, if I'm not really in the mood, then my driving's going to be hampered. It's going to be held back. Where really your mindset or your thoughts, your focus should not be on how you feel about things. It should be more about, what does this kart or this car want from me? What does this corner want from me as a driver to get it through there as quick as possible? That's where the head needs to be all the time. Again, that's your job as a race driver. That's what makes you different. If you become a professional, you are good at working out, figuring out with your inputs how to manipulate a car through a corner. And once you get there, you log it, you feel it, you know when you're on the limit, and that's what you're chasing. So I think we've got to come away from you as a normal person going through life who happens to be in a race car or a kart, and become a race driver. Think about what they think about when they're sat in there, because that's really what it's all about. You have to be a different person. I've spoken about alter egos quite a lot. It's you becoming, building the mindset or the mentality or the coding that you need to be a race driver. That's not you at home as you're watching this and listening to this. That's a different person. When the lid goes on, when you get to that track, that is you on stage. And one of the main beliefs, one of the main qualities of someone who's really good on that stage in the racing world is someone who does what the kart or the car wants, and they keep it there. Now just think about what a lap time wants. If you want a lower lap time, and it's kind of like life is saying, right, if you do certain things, I'll give you a faster, lower lap time. And you're like, okay, what do you want from me? If a lap time could talk, they would say, I don't care how hard you've worked. If you worked, harder than the other drivers on the grid, I don't care if you prepped more. I don't care if you want this racing dream more than anyone else. I don't care if you deserve it more. All I require from you is to do the right inputs on the pedals, on the steering, with the gears, and with the setup of the car. And if you do this to the maximum, your inputs and looking after the setup of the car, I'll give you a competitive lap time. That's all he really cares about. And that's where your head needs to be. So each time you're off the pace in a certain session, all you need to understand is that I'm doing something wrong with my inputs. It could be the line I'm on going through a corner. That's still inputs, because you've got to input the steering left to prepare for this right-hander a bit more. It's all about what you do with your hands and feet. And obviously your engine and the setup of the car is also a big thing as well. But you focus on them things, the things that are measurable, and you get your head there and you take it on, you hold yourself accountable for these inputs and having the kart or the car to the maximum, you'll get what you want. Even if you're not as talented as other drivers on that grid, lap time doesn't care. It just wants you to do the right inputs. Drive the corners as they need to be driven. It's really that simple. Not easy, but simple. So keep your mind there. Analytical, understand exactly who's driving, get them to actually be in control in qualifying, look at the driving, inputs, kart, car, setup, and go.